This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Well, let's take a listen to the very first one. It starts with that familiar guitar that would be your WWF theme for many years. You're at the Country Music Hall of Fame. You talk about how you were born into a wrestling family. Well, let's just play it. Here we go.
Hello, folks. Jeff Jarrett here. That's Double J. J-E, double F, J-A, double R-E, double T. That's Double J. You're going to hear a lot of that name coming up. We're at the Country Music Hall of Fame. I'm going to tell you folks just in a second exactly why we're here. You see, I was born into a wrestling family. It was predetermined. I was destined to become the greatest wrestler of all time. And quite frankly, I've become that. Everybody here in the South knows that. And shortly, everybody in the WWF will. But I'm coming to the WWF for a couple of reasons. You know, my true love, it's not what comes second nature to me. It's not what I'm the greatest at. It's not wrestling. It's what's in my heart. And that's country music, the country music business. You know, I've got more singing talent, more dancing talent, more stage presence, more charisma than all the other country music stars put together. But I can't get my break. Maybe it's because I'm a local boy, a Music City native, or maybe it's because the corrupt politics in the business, in the country music industry. Or take, for example, that fat boy Garth Brooks. He's a transplanted Oklahoman. He comes in here to Music City, and they try to make him the greatest thing since sliced bread. It just makes me sick to my stomach. He ought to be the Pillsbury Doughboy instead of a country music star. He's making more babies than he is hits. Oh, it makes me sick to my stomach. Yep. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the WWF. I'm going to use you, Randy Savage. And I'm going to use you, Lex Luger, and you, Bret Hart, and the list goes on and on. Because old Double J, when he gets done proving he's the greatest wrestler of all time, the country music business is going to come begging. Going to come on their hands and knees, crawling, kissing my feet, begging me to sign a contract. And then when after that's all over, I'm going to come back here to the Hall of Fame. This old sign here, they're going to tear it down. They're going to build a life-size statue, and they're going to make it Double J, gold-plated, life-size. And then old Country Music Hall of Fame, they're going to rename that. It's going to be the Double J Hall of Fame. And I'm going to have gold records, and I'm going to have life-size portraits in there. Don't you forget that. Double J. It's J-E, double F, J-A, double R-E, double T. That's Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
All right, old Double J.
So there you go, your very first vignette. What'd you think listening to that one back?
Yeah, it brought back a lot of memories, but I was sitting there thinking, since we've launched My World, people are like, I hated Jeff. That vignette sort of sums it up. There was nothing to like about that character.
Nope.
That accent, which I still have, obviously, but really what are you giggling at?
Well, that thing. And then I don't even know why, but I don't like that you did the two finger thing.
Yeah. The two fingers, the twangy accent, just the casualness that I am the greatest wrestler that ever lived. You're a wrestling fan, like, who is this guy? I've never even seen him wrestle. And I know it's a different era, but that goes without saying, but 1993 and the cockiness and running down. And then I mean, who is this guy? And I'm taking shots at Savage and Bret and Razor just right off the bat.
And Garth Brooks.
Huh?
And Garth Brooks.
And yeah, he's making more babies than he has hits. Bruce, you just got to give him so much credit because, and Kerwin, it set the stage of who the Double J character was. And there was nothing to like about the guy. None.
At that point, when you saw, first of all, by the way, one of my favorite things in there, because I just know how, I don't know, but I think I know how Vince thinks. That vignette would have never aired where you hear that airplane fly over the top, where it was coming through that audio. He would have been like, do it again. Right.
So Bruce, I think I've heard, or I recall I listened to the whole episode of Something to Wrestle With on this, but Vince was in Stanford. He wasn't on site. And so my gut tells me that Bruce would have said, hey, Vince, this was the second or third take and airplanes were flying over us all day. So we decided to keep that as a keeper. And at that point, it had already moved on. So I don't know why Bruce kept it, but it might have been one of those things that we've just alluded to. When you're guerrilla style running and gunning, we might have gotten run off of the country because there we are. We're at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
With a film crew.
Yes. And not talking very kindly about the country music industry and the corrupt politics.
And I saw your gear there. You just laid out that you and Jill made it. Were you already doing the 2-finger point? Is that a Vinceism?
That's a Bruceism. I mean, I think I might have, as we're going back and forth, Bruce is like, yeah, do 2 fingers, or you got 2 fingers, really define that. And it's double J, and I'm spelling the name because the spelling of the name, Vince and Bruce had the conversation and Vince latched on to it. Bruce, look at his name. 2 J's, 2 F's, 2 R's, 2 T's.
That's like Vince's wet dream, right? He loves the alliteration. He likes like Hulk Hogan, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He likes when it's the same thing twice. So you already have that with Jeff Jarrett, but you also have double R's, double T's, the whole deal. Yeah.
The branding of it. That's Vince's brain. Is just dialed into that. And so the 2 fingers are better than 1. It just worked. God, it used to get heat with folks.
What about the iconic theme song, that little guitar riff, when we're first starting and all that? Can you tell us about, well, it's not even a guitar riff. Just tell us about the iconic sound that we hear there. Had you already heard that? That feels like a Jim Johnston thing. Had you already heard that before you recorded it, or do you hear it when we do?
No. And the first time I heard that was when I recorded Superstars on a VHS recorder and heard the music put to it. And I'm like, that is the corniest music I've ever heard. And I can tell you that I was like, I understand I'm a heel and there's not supposed to be anything that dadgum, that's corny. I just remember it just sort of went all over me. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with it. But man, it was, and you called it an iconic riff. That's chuckle worthy for me, but it evolved into that. But yeah.
Well, it's cool. It was at home. It was a notice for me to change the damn channel. It was like Pavlovian. Oh, not this guy. Bloop. See what Silk Stockings is doing right now. So your silly smile and little sparkle noise at the end, that's all Bruce Pritchard shit, is it not?
The grin or the gold tooth?
Both.
The gold tooth was in Titan TV or WWF TV. The grin, Bruce could get into it and he would that's what I'm saying. As far as producing, I might've been trying to smirk, but Bruce could do it over the top at the drop of a hat. And I'd go, oh, okay. I'm doing it about a 3 and Bruce wants me to do it about a 10. So there's the difference in being coachable and producible, but you got to have the guy pushing you. And so I'm like, wow. And he's like, yeah, do that. Anyway, the big smirk was definitely heavily influenced by Bruce.
You're 26 years old here. In hindsight, was it a lot to take in?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the vignettes, and after we got, all the vignettes we produced, I can remember just going, wow, this is, it was a big deal. I mean, I knew like, okay, we're going to run vignettes and we're building. And when you hear Vince McMahon, who was the play-by-play guy, he walked out the other night at the beginning of SmackDown, so you don't see Vince nowadays. Back then he was standing in the ring at WrestleManias and he was the lead play-by-play guy on Monday Night Raw and Superstars with not Gorilla, with Bobby Heenan or Jesse the Body. But when you would hear Vince refer to Double J, it was like, okay, old kid from Hendersonville, Tennessee has hit the big time, because I'm talking about his promotion. Again, he's the owner of the promotion. My father was the owner of promotion around here. now the owner of the WWF is talking about this character. It was the big time for me.
Oh my goodness. Let's take a listen to another one. This is promo number 2. And here we go.
Old Double J here again. That's JEFF-JARRET. Told you folks you're going to be hearing a lot from me next couple of weeks. You know, I was telling you about the corrupt politics in the country music business, about the wrongdoings in the country music industry. Well, I'm here today at the King Daddy, the Emperor, the Godfather of them all, Buddy Lee Attractions. That's right. Buddy Lee is the premier, the #1 talent agency in the world today. But it looks like old Buddy won't give Double J a break, won't give a local boy, a Music City native, a break. I guess you got to be from California or New York City or Oklahoma or Texas, Austin, Texas, Willie Nelson. You know him. What is he, about 95 years old? Oh, my Lord, the greasiest hair you ever seen, decrepit. You know, old Buddy Lee, he made old Willie a lot of money. Oh, it makes me sick to my stomach. He's a redheaded stranger. He's a stranger, all right, a stranger to music. Can't carry a tune in a bucket. Can't sing a lick, unlike myself. The greatest voice in this town today, the greatest singer in the world today, and not only the greatest singer, but the greatest wrestler. And I'm going to prove it to you, Undertaker. I'm going to prove it to you, Mr. Perfect. And you Steiner boys, yeah, I like things in double. I'm going to prove it to you at the same time that I am the greatest wrestler in the world today. And when I'm done, and when I'm finished using the WWF, I'm going to come back here to Music Row. I'm going to come back here to Buddy Lee Attractions. And Buddy Lee himself's going to walk out that door, this door right here. No, he's not going to walk. He's going to crawl on his hands and knees. And he's going to beg. And he's going to plead. And he's going to say, please, Double J, please sign the dotted line. Because he wants to tell the world. He wants to tell Nashville. He wants to tell all the country music business that he signed. Double J. It's JEFF-JARRET. Double J. Jeff Jarrett.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket, so what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com.
Conrad, that Buddy Lee Attractions is about 2 blocks from the Country Music Hall of Fame. And as that was playing, I remember walking down. Let me ask you, can you hear in your mind, if you closed your eyes and just put the Bruce voice, can you hear Bruce telling me that promo?
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
I mean, ain't you? I literally had a flashback of Bruce doing it. I really did. Oh, the Willie Nelson comments and did you hear? How did I say California? That was a Bruceism. Like don't just say California, just California or whatever I just said.
Yeah.
It was all. There's a lot of Bruce in that. I just got a big grin on my face just hearing it back.
So these are airing week after week, and you've got your silly get-ups here. And I think the jacket we just saw in promo number 2, actually, I know you still have that one, which is pretty remarkable. But there's a lot of context I want to add here. In October, Hulk Hogan's movie, Mr. Nanny, is going to come out, but that's around the same time that Vince McMahon is indicted for distribution of steroids. And you're making your debut around the same time. When these vignettes start airing, I'm sure you're excited. Hey, this is my shot at the big time. But is it in the back of your mind that, damn, I might be too late? This thing's coming to an end?
I don't say that. No, not coming to an end. That there was definitely change was in the air. And look, I had been going to work for 7 years, every Monday to Memphis, every Tuesday to Louisville, I knew those days were coming to an end. And of course I was ready to move on and make money, but I'm still a baby face in the territory but now I'm a heel on WWF TV. And there's some chatter of in the dressing room and with the fans, like the regular fans who never missed. It was such a unique time in my career because there's a transition. I can't say that I had any context to the Mr. Nanny coming out. Obviously, the indictment was huge news, but I didn't think the company was going anywhere.
Let's talk about something that's changing in the middle of these vignettes airing, or so it feels. It feels as if you're getting your big break here. Your vignettes are airing. You're finally out from under your dad's thumb. And well, apparently JJ Dillon recommended that Vince McMahon call your dad and suggest he come and be a bigger part of the World Wrestling Federation. Is that bittersweet for you? Where I know you love your dad, obviously, but it felt like, hey, I'm finally out on my own, getting to do my own thing, but damn, dad's coming here too now.
I don't remember anything specifically of, I'll say good or bad, other than it's just business. It went without saying that the territory we weren't drawing, and the business model. I don't think I called it the business model, but I knew it wasn't a rocket science just to look that, I was buddies. I remember getting I remember seeing one of Mr. Perfect's booking sheets at one time, and maybe Sean, they're literally all over the world, and we're a one pager of the same town week after week. It's like, I knew the business model of the industry was just changing. Lots more TV, lots more product on TV with Raw. Just there was definitely change in the air. And so him going and working for Vince, obviously the indictment, and I didn't really look at him going up being a part of creative. I guess that wasn't in my mind. And again, I'd worked under him for all those years, so it wasn't a big deal to me, I guess, the easiest thing to say.
So talk to me a little bit about that vignette we just saw or listened to. Before we clicked record, you said, hey, on that second one, remind me to tell you about Ronnie P. Gossett.
Now, so Ronnie is, so this first round of vignettes, it was just me. And then there's a later vignette that comes up where I'm actually in Buddy Lee's offices. And Tony Conway and his son Matt Conway worked for me at TNA for a lot of years.
Well, I may have that. Hang on one second. We've got that. Let's listen to the third one here. This is Grand Ole Opry, and this one's a lot shorter than the other two. Here we go.
Double J here again. It's JEFF JARRET. We're here at Tootsie's world famous Orchid Lounge. We got the pictures up here of Hank Sr. and Patsy Cline and Boxcar Willie. I've been telling you about the corrupt politics in country music, hadn't I? And Boxcar Willie's a fine example. What is he, a bum, a wino, a never was? Like another guy they're trying to bring along. He ain't nothing. It's some Italian boy. Billy Ray Cyrus, got them buggy whip arms, jumping around like he's sweating to the oldies with Richard Simmons. Makes me sick to my stomach. He can't sing. He can't dance. Double J can here. Got the best voice in Music City today. Can dance better than anybody in Music City today. Oh, that Billy Ray, I'd like to slap the taste right out of his mouth. Some other Italian guy I'd like to smack, that's that Razor Ramon. And I'm going to do it when I get face to face with him.
Italian.
And that Men on a Mission. Yeah, I'm going to Men on a Mission. Back to the homeless joint where they belong. And 1, 2, 3, kid, all you're going to be hearing is 1, 2, 3 when I pin your shoulders to the mat. And then when it's all said and done, and I've proven my point that I am the world's greatest wrestler. No, I'm not going to come to Tootsie's. No, from coast to coast. You know what they're going to be wanting? Every record store, they're going to be wanting the album, the debut album of Double J. That's JEFF JARRET. Double J. Jeff Jarrett.
So that's the one you were talking about earlier outside of Tootsie's. I love that you said to me, Razor Ramon is based on Tony Montana, who's from Cuba. He's not Italian, but that makes it even better somehow.
Of course. And Billy Ray Cyrus is not Italian either.
No, of course not. It's tremendous. This is one from November 15th. This is you in a recording studio.
Howdy, folks. Double J here again. That's J-E-F-F-J-A-R-R-E-T. That's Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Got my driver here, Billy Ray Brooks. Brought me down here today in my vintage 68 Cadillac. You know, fine cars are like fine wine. They just seem to get better with age. Isn't that right, Billy Ray?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. You know, old Double J here, he takes care of his property, unlike the corrupt country music business. You know, they say proof's in the pudding. Well, I got the pudding right here. Take a look. Here it is. The finest example of the corrupt country music business. The Ryman Auditorium, home of the Grand Ole Opry. Well, look at this place. Graffiti on the walls. This place is run down. It's in shambles. It's condemned. Well, this place is dead. Just like two of the greatest country music stars ever to play on that stage in there, right here on this stage, Conway Twitty. Why, he's dead and buried. Oh, Lord. And another guy, George Jones. He's still breathing all right, but his career's been dead for years. Oh, neither one of them guys could sing. Oh, unlike Double J here. Speaking of death, hey, Billy Ray, what's that dead boy's name in the WWF?
Undertaker.
Yeah, The Undertaker. This place reminds me of The Undertaker. Dead, decrepit, run down, in shambles. Undertaker boy, I'm gonna use you. And I'm gonna use the WWF. And when I get done, after it's all said and done, they're gonna rename the WWF. That's right, they're gonna rename it the Double JF. Oh, that's right. And then they're gonna come back here. That's right, look at this sign. It's not gonna say Ryman Auditorium. It's not gonna say home of the Grand Ole Opry. It's gonna say the Double J Auditorium. That's right, the home of the greatest country music singer that ever lived. That's right, Jeff Jarrett. Oh, Double J. That's Double J. J-E-F-F-J-A-R-R-E-T. That's Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
All right. I love that on the second vignette forward, they started actually typing your name on the screen as you said it. So when you're hitting the double F, both F's appear. And I love this one with this giant old car. Who had that car?
So I was gonna say is it's one thing, man. There is I'll use your term, a lot to unpack here. You could hear the energy and the inflection in my voice, and you just referenced that TV started spelling out my name. We're adding a character there, and for those that don't know, that's Tony Falk, the guy that I had my very first match with. He's the driver again. Worked in the territory, worked for my family for years and years and years. There's a whole funny story on that he literally sat at attention for an hour with the car running. He could have put it in park, but he had his foot on the brake. I mean, there's some really funny. I wish there probably weren't too many outtakes because we were blowing and going. I mean, this is right in front of the Ryman Auditorium. At the time, it was doing a remodel. It was run down. And Bruce, again, took advantage of that. But just the whole energy of it. Bringing back, I've got a lot of smiles on my face today because I can just remember Bruce being off camera and us doing a take and him going, "Oh man, that's good, but we can get better," and him pulling it out of it, and just the whole vibe of it. Because now, as the vignettes progressed, we're starting to add, the one at Tootsie's and the Country Music Hall of Fame and outside of Budley Attractions. I was by myself, but now I've got somebody to play off of. And here's a driver in a 69 Cadillac. And it was beautiful. So again, you can just hear through this whole progression of the character development. I guess that's one of the things. Yes, I'm biased. It's my character. But as a talent and as a promoter, to hear the character progress in an amount of weeks and the platform that Vince gave me, it was really cool times.
I love that you called him Undertaker Boy. That was good stuff, man.
Oh, that's heat.
Did Bruce name Tony Falk Billy Ray Brooks? Obviously, Billy Ray Cyrus had one of the biggest hits in the world.
Yeah, of course.
Ray Brooks, hilarious. Well,
with his driver cap on and him sitting at attention, and he had a couple of lines in there. That's Undertaker. I mean, Tony's great. Tony's absolutely great.
This is November 22nd. So this is going to be a week before you guys go to a TV taping where I believe you're going to have your very first match. So this is a week before you tape your very first match.
Stop it down. Stop it down. Stop it down. My gosh, that's awful. Cut.
Stop it down.
Where do you find these pickers at?
But Double J, this is the 25th audition today.
And they're all horrible.
But none of them as good as you, Double
Well,
J.
certainly they're not. Exactly, certainly not. I guess I got to play the piano. And I guess I got to play the drums. And I guess I'm the greatest singer in this town. Now it looks like I got to play the guitar. Oh, my
You're the
gosh.
best, Double J.
Guitar. It's Bruce.
And it's Jackie.
Gosh, that was awful. Hey, boy, where'd you get that guitar at? Where'd you learn how to play? That was terrible. Vince Gill, old Sweet Pea, was in here a little while ago, and he couldn't make the Double J band, and I threw him out. Now, why don't you get out of here? I guess I'm going to have to do it myself. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it myself to get to the top in the country music business. But I'm going to do that. Don't you worry about that. And I'm going to get to the top in the WWF. Yeah, they may call it the WWF right now, but when I'm done with them, they're going to call it the Double JF. Don't you forget that name. That's Double J, J-E, double F, J-A, double R-E, double T. That's Double J now, Jeff Jarrett.
I got to tell you, I like when they're a little faster. I think that hits more. Yeah.
That's me and Bruce getting our groove and quick interaction and progressing through it and getting to the point. Off the top, I'll shut up, Conrad. But when Bruce says, "Stop it down," I'm like, "Stop it down." That's heat. It's so irritating. Stop it down. Stop it down. Anyway,
who was the guy auditioning? Do you recall?
Good buddy of mine. Benny Bolin, I still see him on social media. He lives here. He ran a gym, but he's an incredible bluegrass artist. Is professional, but he can really pick. And Sweet Pea, for those country music fans that might have caught that, that's a nickname given to Vince Gill because he's a really, really good picker.
And how did Miss Texas get involved?
And that's going to say, hearing Jackie's voice, Miss Texas, who came up from literally our, the Texas Tennessee relationship. She came to Tennessee, and she, in those days, we didn't have a lot of female wrestlers. So Jackie, she had transgender matches in the early 90s, and I can remember her beating the hell out of Brian Lawler and Brian Lawler beating the hell out of her in some matches. Jackie, one tough son of a gun. But she was, again, we were looking for a female for the vignettes. And she fit the bill. The 4 people that we used were Jackie, who was in the Tennessee territory. We just talked about Tony Falk. And another one, we had a guy that we referred to him like a step and fetch it, Frank Morrell, who was one of my mentors. I rode with him every day for 6 or 7 years. He was a wrestler, but he had took the role of being a referee in the territory. And then Ronnie P. Gossett was the manager that when we busted back in on Buddy Lee Attractions and they threw me out. So it was
here you go. This may be it right here. This is November 29th, 1993.
Howdy, folks. Old Double J here again. I told you a couple of weeks ago that I was coming back here to Buddy Lee Attractions. And here's Buddy Lee's cousin himself, R.P. Lee. He set up the meeting. Oh, I can't wait to talk to Buddy. Here we go. Howdy, ma'am. Where's Buddy at? He's expecting us. Oh, R.P. Lee himself. He set up the meeting. Where's Buddy at? Who am I? I'm Double J. That's J-E double F. J-A double R-E double T. That's Double J. Buddy must be in the back. Oh, he's back here. Howdy, man. You look nice today. Where's Buddy at? Oh, he's got to be in the back. Honey, you sure do look pretty. Here we go. Buddy back here? Where's Buddy at? Where's Buddy Lee? How you doing? Double J, how you doing today? This is RP. This is Buddy's cousin.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
You guys not supposed to be here today.
Oh, no, Buddy's expecting to see you in the back.
No, Buddy's not here.
Don't you know who he is? Don't you know who I am? I'm Double J.
Yeah, you're the wrestler that was here last week putting our acts down.
Oh, no. Hey, Buddy's here. I want to see him. He must be in the back.
You ought to stick to wrestling.
Get your stinking hands off of me. Hey, I'm the best singer this town's ever had. You just give me a shot. Hey, I got more charisma than any of your acts.
Get him out.
Hey, get your stinking hands off. And you hands off him. Hey, where's Buddy at? I'm telling you, you're going to regret this. You're going to regret this, boy. Hey, what literate test that you passed to get this job. Hey, I got more charisma. I can sing better. I can dance better than all of them put together. You're going to regret this. Hey, that's J-E, double F, and don't forget it. J-A, double R-E, double T. It's double J now. Jeff Jarrett.
I got to tell you, my favorite part of the whole thing is when they zoom in on the security footage, the little camera on her desk at the end, and we see you and RP in the elevator. Classic stuff.
So well done from a production point of view, and the interaction. And Buddy Lee, he owned and his kids run it now, a booking agent, but Buddy had ties to the wrestling business back in the 60s and 70s. So, and they also promoted the WWF during the 80s. So there was a connection there, so doing that, and Tony Conway throwing me out of the office. But again, going back to the very core of this, looking at through the eyes of Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and Kerwin, the character development. I just go back to, it's a My World podcast, but the character development and how things I was detestable, but it was defining what I was going to do when I arrived in the wrestling ring. And so telling all this backstory, man, I got so lucky. What a foundation it built.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.